Tonight should be as difficult and easy as any week we've had. Easy in the sense that it's all stuff you've heard before. Difficult in the sense that it's nothing like you've seen before. So how's that for a confusing introduction? Basically, last week we talked about the fact that, and let me just keep repeating myself on some of these things because I think it's important that we, sorry, that was a missions budget there. I just had a brand new black one in my hand. Here, I'll use this green. Blue will work just as well. You just can't use a Sharpie. Well, they hate it when you do that. Oh, this is actually ceramic board, so it does come off, but it's not easy. Okay, in a verb, there are 5 things. You have tense, voice, mood, person, and then number. But in a noun, you only have 3. You have gender, and number, and case. Now, gender is only male, female, and then a few neuter. And number is only single or plural. So both of those are pretty simple. And when you had these, you had tense and voice and mood. Person was first, second, or third, and number was single and plural. So those two were similar anyway. So you have some of the same things, okay? Last week we looked at the second declension, and the second declension covered concepts of masculine with a few neuter. So you had the 8 case in 5 forms. You had nominative, genitive, ablative. Then you had locative, instrumental, and dative. And then you had accusative and vocative. Okay? So you had the 8 cases, 5 forms, and you had them in single and plural. Well, the second declension is an omicron or omicron sigma ending. Today, what we're going to do is first declension is all an alpha, or if it's a long, it's an eta. So it's just going to be that simple. All the cases stay the same. Single plural stays the same. In the first declension, you have mostly feminine with a few masculine. This is mostly masculine with a few neuter. So basically what we're getting tonight is first declension, feminine. Just that simple. Okay? That's going to have the same cases. And the same things are true for these cases. The nominative is always the subject. The genitive ablative is always of or from, shows source, possession. Locative instrumental data, to, in, by, with. Accusative is always a direct object, and then vocative is a direct address. Okay? So, sound familiar from last week? Okay? Now, understanding where these come from, and then whether it's an alpha or an omicron ending, is really all we're talking about. So, as we move from this into the endings, there's going to be also some incredible similarities in the endings. Now, did you do the homework from last time? Yes? All right. Let's read some Greek. Second declension nouns. I'm looking at the sentences. Are you on the bottom of page 19? Mm-hmm. I am too. Anthropos genoskai ta naman. The man, he is knowing the law. Mm-hmm. Does yours look similar? Mm-hmm. Good. Hadulas ferai doran. The servant, he is bearing a gift. No article. A gift. Apostolos legai legon. The man, he is speaking a word.
Man? Apostle?
Apostle. I even pronounced it wrong, didn't I? Apostolos, not anthropos. Thank you. Sentence number 4. Ekais ton kerpan. Now here we have no subject, so this becomes a predicate nominative. The subject is inherent or implicit in the verb. So ekais is second person. So you put you. You are having the fruit. Everybody feel comfortable? Long sentence. Hoyadelphoi akuasan tus lagus tuangilu. The brothers, they are hearing the words of the angel or the messenger. Context will tell you. If the being has wings, it's an angel. Makes sense. Pempera dora tohitaro. Y'all, that's the second person plural, y'all are sending gifts to the temple. Yes? Blepaman tus oikus tonedelphone. We are seeing the houses of the brothers.
We are?
First plural, or first plural. Blepaman. Luoluais loai loaman lucy.
Okay.
I can see it in my mind. Hoi huioi ton anthropon agusen tus delus. The sons of the men, they are leading the servants. Lambano dora carpon kai artu. I am taking gifts of fruit and bread. Maybe even I would say I am taking gifts of fruits and of bread. So it seems like there were several kinds of fruit and only one kind of bread.
Could that be on receiving as well?
It could be receiving. Depends on how assumptive you are. Are you taking it or are you receiving it? If you take a nap, what does that actually mean? What are you doing with it? Where was it before you got
You
it?
said you're receiving it.
Am I receiving a nap? I'm having a nap? We don't have a good word for that. I am experiencing a nap. If you take a picture, what does that mean? The word take is an odd word. That's my point. It really is an
It can
odd
mean
word.
many things.
It can mean
You're
so many
capturing
things.
something.
Yeah,
Receiving something.
exactly. To seize, to hold. Okay, well, I'll let you ponder that on the way home. Graphomen toisadelphois. We are writing to the brothers. By the way, this week, maybe some next week, I'm reading to you. After this, we'll go around the table and you read to me. Okay, it's just kind of getting you going here. Okay, here we go. Blepotan kurion to oiko. I am seeing the Lord of the houses.
Be in the house?
Uh-huh.
It's plural? Plural?
Isn't it? No, single, in the house.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I'm just reading ahead here. Hoi apostoloigen uskusen tan naman kai didaskusen tus anthropus. The apostles, they are knowing the law and they are teaching the men. We're good? Hoi anthropoi blapusen apostolus te hitro kai toi to oko. The men, they are seeing the apostle in the house, in the temple and in the house.
The apostle?
The apostles,
The
there's
apostles
no the.
plural?
Yeah, it is.
And there's no the.
They are seeing apostles in the temple and in the house.
Cool.
Very good. Angelos legai legus denitu tois anthropos kai tois huiois. The angel, or messenger, he is speaking words of death to the men, or to the man and to the son.
Did I miss one?
14. And that's plural, tois anthropos, to the men and to the sons.
Yeah.
Ha'akla stellai blapine. Notice the infinitive. The crowd, it is wishing to see Tankurion, the Lord. So that's how you translate an infinitive. The crowd, it is wishing, so that's an indicative verb, to see the Lord. huioi ferusin lithus to oiko. The sons, they are bringing stones to the house.
On 16,
Yep.
can it be, they will see the Lord?
15. No, blepine is definitely an infinitive, and it is to be translated
No,
to be.
I'm sorry, I'm out of order.
That's
The,
okay.
ho'oplos, tele, but, no. Where am I? Yeah, the crowd, they will see, can it be they will see the Lord?
No.
Okay.
No, you want just to see. The reason, if you look back on the box on page 12, luine is translated to loose.
Okay.
And so it becomes the object of the predicate. And that's what often happens to an infinitive, is they are wishing what? To see. Yeah. And so it's kind of odd because you don't think of an infinitive. You think of a participle to be the object of, but not the infinitive to be the object of a predicate. Okay.
Back to page 12.
Of course you can. What would you like to know?
On 3.3b.
Yes.
The last statement, the ending of the infinitive is a fixed form, it does not change except to indicate tense and voice.
Correct.
I don't remember it ever changing.
It doesn't change in this, it changes in other tenses.
Okay, I'm just not remembering
Correct.
the
Well,
taking other endings.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, and the one that really looks the oddest here, if you'll open this up
Yep.
in the back, I will show you an infinitive. Look here. See this line?
Just couldn't remember an example.
Aorist is
Yeah,
different.
Okay.
And
Sorry to throw you all for it.
you're not at all. And perfect is different. Future is not. Second aorist is not. But it's the middle line there where it says infinitive. And you can see that it does change only when you go to different tenses. But several of them it is epsilon iota nu. Ein. Okay? All right, now let's open up to page, doesn't matter, 5.1. There's no page number. Page 21. No page number. Let's talk about the first declension endings. Most of the endings are feminine, like I said. Most are feminine with a few masculine, and we'll identify those. Ironically enough, it's very easy to see in the box which ones are masculine because they don't have an eta article. They have an omicron article. They have first declension ending, but they use a masculine article. So this lesson there are only two. Homothetes, aprophetes. The disciple, the prophet. But the endings are there. Most are feminine. The vocab ends with an eta as the article, indicating is feminine. All of the first declension nouns have an eta or an alpha as the connecting vowel. And I'll show you that in just a moment. First declension nouns whose nominative, so sorry, that end in ace or os are masculine. Grammarians call this the alpha stem because of the predominance of the alpha sound, which makes a lot of sense. The article is in the bottom of that gray box, so you want to be sure. Pardon me. When you make out your box, when you make out your card, that you make it out just like that. If you always make out an article card, it tells you both the article and the ending of the nouns. But if you only make out a noun card, you still, you still have to look up the article. So I always encourage people to make up an article card because the endings are the same for the nouns. Now, notice already, and I told you this was coming, already they don't even give you any vocative. It's so rare that they don't even put it on there. It's just not worth learning. When it comes up, it will be so obvious that you'll say, I don't recognize it, but that's got to be vocative. Look at that. See, I mean, that's what will happen. It'll be that obvious. Most of the time, by the way, the vocative is identical now in the first declension to the nominative anyway. Okay? Turn the page, systems of the first declension. Give you an example, basilia. By the way, notice the V on the end of it, NV. You see where it says that?
Mm-hmm.
That's not the abbreviation for Nevada. NV is, nor is Georgia. I didn't think about how many of those are similar there. NV is a nominative and vocative. So he's telling you the same. So he doesn't even create a separate box for it. Basilia, basilias, basilia, basilion. Then go over to the plural side. Basilii, basilion, basiliais, basilias. By the way, it's the same as our word basilica. So, that's where that word comes from. Now these are when the stem ends with an epsilon, an iota, or a rho. Now, on number 2, if the root of the noun ends at a sigma, double lambda, or one of the other double consonants, which is zeta, xi, or psi, see they all have kind of 2 sounds. The nominative singular ends in a short A, or alpha sound, and then changes to an eta in the second and third inflected forms, okay? Yes, I said inflicted. That's supposed to be some kind of a grammatical joke. Okay, never mind. Glossa, glosses, glosse, glosson. So the first and fourth form keep the alpha, but the second and third form take the eta. Now move over to the plural. Glossai, glosson, glosses, glossas. Now if you'll notice, let your eye float back up to that first box. Notice the similarity in endings. They're the same. That's helpful. Let your eye fall down to the third box on the plural side. They are the same. So some of these variations really only occur in the single forms anyway. And it has to do with what's called euphonics, or good sound, how it's pronounced. That's all it is. Glossa is the word for tongue, and that's our word glossary, like at the end of a book.
It's also a South African language.
For what?
It's a South African language as well.
Glossa?
Well, I can't do it.
Oh.
Glossa.
Oh, is that right? Well, I haven't learned that one. Graphe is writing, and our word graphics. I mean, we have a lot of these words that we learned. So graphe, graphes, graphe, graphane, graphi, graphone, graphice, and graphas, as in graffiti. Same thing. Okay? Now there are a few masculines, and he gives you some examples of those at the top of the page. Prophetes, now remember, a masculine first declension will be preceded by a masculine article. Okay? So it's really going to look squirrely. But if you think about it, if you pull up your second declension article chart, you'll see that the endings are very similar. Prophetes, prophetu, prophete, prophetain, propheta. By the way, that one does have a vocative. No plural, just single. Prophete, propheton, prophetes, prophetas. Okay? The key here is that you remember how the masculine and feminine looks. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and we're going to pronounce the vocab. Okay? Then I'll come back and I'll read some of the sentences for you. And hopefully we'll have some time to do this. I got to go get our guests set up tonight. But I think we'll have time. I'll come back and I'll read 3 or 4 of the sentences for you. And I'll choose some that are sentences that have the first declension for masculine, so you can kind of see what that sentence looks like. Okay? All right, here we go. Vocab. I'm in 5.1. Hey agape, or as you often hear it pronounced, agape. But aga, you can see the emphasis is on that alpha. Agape. Aletheia, truth. Aletheia. We have a little girl in church named Aletheia. Right after the gal took the class, she got pregnant, and she loved the word, so she named her daughter Aletheia. So they're really cool. Hamartia. And so if you've studied theology, you know hamartiology, study of sin. Basileia, I've already talked about that, the word for kingdom. Glossa, we've already talked about that, the word for tongue. Graphe, the word for writing. And it can be, and there are times it is, when it's made reference of the writing of Moses. So it's the scripture, or some translations even say law, but that's not the word for law. But it's the scripture of Moses. So it can be a proper noun. Okay? Didache. Oh, go ahead.
In that case, would it be capitalized?
Well, only in English. All of theirs would have been capitalized in unctuals.
Right.
And then in the text, where minuscules are used, they would probably capitalize it.
Okay.
But again, that's just editor's assistance.
Right.
So there's no improper or proper. Didache, and you know our adjective didactic. Didactic teaching method. That's where this comes from. Let's see. Doxa. Doxa. That's an xe. I'm probably giving it way too much O. Doxa. Let me go doxa. You know the word doxology. Words of glory. Doxologos. Words of glory. Doxology. Irene. Know any girls named Irene? That's where the word comes from. Or the 1st and 2nd century, there were a couple of famous church fathers. Irenaeus. Irenaeus, and that his name means peace. Ecclesia, like ecclesiology. And by the way, ek is the preposition out, and kaleo is to call. And so the ecclesia are the ones called out. That's actually where that word comes from. It's a compound word. Entole is the word for commandment. Entole. Exousia is the word for power. It is also a compound word, out of yourself. So it's power that emanates. Hemera is the word for day. Mathetes, that's the word for disciple. Now it's kind of an odd word, and maybe it will help you to remember Matthew was the first gospel, first disciple gospel. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I normally don't care for mnemonic devices because you're having to remember a sentence to help you with a word. Why don't you just remember the word? But some people like them, so I don't often give them, but that's one. Parabole, parable. Yeah, that's a transliteration. And then prophetes, or prophetes, is the word for prophet. So this is an easy lesson with different endings. That's all it is. I mean, it's just that simple and that good. All of your cases stay the same. All of your gender stays the same, although we introduced to you this evening the feminine gender, and then all of the single plural, the number. So you're still working G and C on nouns, and you're working the 5 things on the verb, tense, voice, mood, person, number. Okay? Got it? All right, let's read some sentences. Here we go. Ready? Ha apostolos didaskai parabolein toi centropois. The apostle, he is teaching a parable to the men. Blepai hamathetes ton perfectein te ecclesia. Now notice, this is tricky. Hamathetes is a masculine first declension nominative. So what does that tell you? Nominative means it is the subject. The disciple, he is seeing. Now I'm looking for an accusative. I got to have an object for what he's seeing. Ton perfecte. The disciple is seeing the prophet in, by, with, over, under, whatever, the church. Whatever preposition. We don't know yet. So any of those would be right. Do you see how this sentence works out? Even though the verb is first, and then you have two nouns back to back, you don't have to wonder, oh, is this man bite dog or dog bite man? I don't know. The answer is the nominative is always, 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 always the subject. So hamathetes, blepai, ton prophetein, te ecclesia. The disciple, he is seeing the prophet in the church. Hoi huion ton anthropon genoskusen agapein te alethian te kai tasgraphas. The sons of the men, they are knowing love and truth and the scriptures, or the writings. Wow, how about that? Pretty cool, huh? Read the whole sentence straight across. Any questions? I hate to read too many. It takes away all your fun this week.
Do Greeks use the Oxford comma?
What's that?
Do Greeks use the Oxford comma?
No. They use chi a lot. Actually, there's another connective. I don't know whether you have noticed this or remember this or not, but the word te. And it really was just pronounced t. And so you'd say, I want bread, to milk, to jelly, to peanut butter, to, and all it did was actually, it's as weak as a comma in English. It's a conjunction, but it's as weak as a comma.
How does Greek handle, when we do lists, sometimes we'll have a list that's compound, or we'll have an item that's compound. So, bread, fruit and nuts.
It would do the same thing. It would separate it with a te, but with the two that were conjoined would have chi.
Okay.
And by the way, that actually comes up in the preaching. You were this morning talking about the two sets of brothers, Simon and Peter and James and John. And so the two brothers are conjoined, but the two sets are also conjoined as fishermen.
So, two kais and one te?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.